think you can hear me now. There you go. Cool. What's up, guys? My name is Eric Thies. I'm going to do a quick live stream for you. I'm just making sure my audio works. There we go. Cool. I'm going to jump right into it. I got a lot of coins to cover, a lot of stuff to do today as well, so won't mess with you. Bitcoin currently at 6,400, 465 all day. Looks like it's going to be moving down a little bit. That's fine. Backtesting yesterday's support. I'm looking for 6,425. And I'm also looking for, it might even get a little lower, to be honest. I'm on the daily here. As you can see, we are above that middle Bollinger Band, but also getting pushed down by that Celt. And so as long as we stay above 64.46 for the remainder of the day, or 64.42 for the remainder of the day, candle closes in 2 hours, so we can go from there. But I would expect us, if we stay above that, then we can probably make another attempt right here to 6,500, as well as try this upper band up here at 67. But do note that this is squeezing up. This is squeezing to the inside right now. And so in past situations, when I see that the top Bollinger Band is squeezing inside the upper Celt, the result has actually been to the downside. I don't know if that's good or bad in this case, so we're going to see what happens. But that's more of an observation. That's not fact. Zooming out a tiny bit. I'll zoom in a second too. Look, check this out. We got denied by the middle Celt here. We got a wick by it. But with my strategy, I don't say anything is certain until the candle is closed. And the candle on that 3-day closed below that line, which would then infer that we are going to touch the bottom at some point. But with the way the volatility has been moving, that leaves me with just a couple options, to be honest. I think it would bring us down to 6,000 here. But again, with the way the volatility is, we could just be moving sideways for the next few days and while this comes up. Notice down here, this Bollinger Band is pinching in. It's constricting. That does suggest that there is going to be if there is going to be a touch to the lower band, it's going to be a strong support area. And what I look for when I'm looking at the Bollinger Bands and the Celts is I'm looking for some kind of confluence. So any kind of crossing between the two, where they're in agreement with each other. So you can see it's stronger there. The 1 day doesn't show it as well, but that's also pretty good. But also if I go down to the lower part right here, see this is still pinching in. Still at 6,300. So that's why I said 64.25. I think we could backtest right here, like we've been playing around all day, but we could keep moving up from there. The lower band's we have a ton of support right now. It's crazy. But yeah, so if I zoom out even and I go to the 1 week, we still got a touch. I mean, we got denied right here by the middle Celt, and then you would think that we'd go down and touch the bottom, but that can also come back up to us. So we're either going to touch 5,900, which it doesn't look like we're going to do, or we're going to erupt out of here with major resistances on this weekly being at 6,800 as well as 7,000, which would make sense and all that. Speaking of confluence, 2-week chart on Heikin Ashi candles. Heikin Ashi. This lower band keeps moving up. It's at 5,300 now. Honestly, I used to think that we were coming down here to a bottom, and we might still be, even though I'd be wrong calling bottom. But this thing keeps getting tighter. So these things were at 5,100 earlier in the year, probably over June, July, and they just keep getting up higher. Same kind of thing. Now, if I go to turn off my log bands, let me turn on normal bands. Bands, I make her dance. So normal bands. So we've got the middle Bollinger here, and I don't like how it doesn't have that differential. Oh, wrong middle basis. So notice that there's the basis of the Celt and the basis of the Bollinger Band. They're kind of in sync right now. Again, its strongest support where the two cross each other. And so if we're going to make a move up, which is what I've been calling for, and we could end up below 5K or 6K, whatever, like people were looking at. But I think we do see a move up to at least 9,000 before, 93, 94, to at least this top Celt. Now, that's going to be interesting because that's kind of what happened back in good old 2014. God, kind of a pain in the butt to do on here. I'm on my laptop. I'm usually on a trackpad, or I'm usually on a mouse, not a trackpad. But back in 2014, something similar happened. And so, we just got to keep our eyes out on that. We could easily move past that in life. It could be good. Let me make sure no one's trolling me too hard in the comments. If there is comments, boom. There's no comments. Cool. So I'm going to go on to the next thing. What I want to talk about real quick, looking at Bitcoin market cap. So what to look at in this market cap? I want you guys to notice, so this is just Bitcoin's market cap, I believe. This isn't other ones. By the way, coinsignals.trade, great site. So we had this low right here, right, on that day on February 6th. And when we hit 5.9K for the first time, and the wick hit $102 billion. And since then, the lowest we've gotten is $99 billion. And it's been a kind of an uptrend since then. We still need the higher high, and we'll get it. I think we're looking at an equal high soon, at least. I'll jump over to the not Bitcoin's market cap, but the alt market cap. And so what I want, this is significant, guys, because the market cap is going to keep increasing. Price times supply, right? And supply is always increasing. So it is significant. This thing's not working with me right now. But can I see the market cap piece? But it's significant though, because basically market cap's going to give you health of the market. As of right now, there's no better way to kind of see the health of the market until they come up with a better metric. And so what I want to show you once this loads is the alt cap, and I think it's reversed entirely. So we see an equal high right here, as well as that low. Now, notice here, you can take this conversation a few ways. Let's minimize that. Let's bring you down here. Let's go like this. So you had your channel or wedge here that it broke out of. We got that little alt season in April. Woo, price goes up. Cool. Now we've got here, looks like we broke out. Saw a tweet that no one's talking about this. I've been keeping an eye on it for sure. But if you look here, we basically broke out of that downward channel too. Now what happens is we can either obviously have just back tested that support with alts, and ideally you just kind of want to see it start going back up. Now what I want people to know is that just because we're not in downtrend or like a hard downtrend doesn't mean we're not going to bleed out. So just be careful on what happens with your alts. There's 2,000 alts in the market now. Back in January when this ICO bubble was at its highest, I think there was like 1,500 or 1,400 ICOs or coins in the market. So market keeps expanding. And that's kind of like, that's why I think this is, it could be a bearish market. It's been a bearish market. But I think it's coming to an end mainly because there's demand. Why are there 2,000 projects now? That's demand. And either they've got to get wiped out or the market's the price has got to start to reflect that. Cool. So that's, Bitcoin dominance. This is interesting. So candle started to fall, and I don't believe in charting dominance after a few different ideas that fell apart a couple weeks ago. But this is interesting because I think what we're seeing, can I invert this on here? What we're basically seeing is I think we're seeing what could be alt season forming. So alt season here in spring 2017, alt season here, winter 2017. Here's April. And now if we can hopefully we can get something smaller going, but the only other time I've seen this flip below on the stochastic was, it was right here, and then everything fell apart. So we could get a little sideways action, but then we end up going down. And that's for Bitcoin, it ends up getting dominance after a while, or it ends up becoming irrelevant because now you've got these trend lines, and you could get a bullish drive situation where it falls down through there and then breaks out and dominance. And that could be, who knows? Again, these metrics are so different. This age in the market, it's hard to tell sometimes. Cool. So I'm going to jump into some alts for you guys. Start off with XLM, KBC strategy. I talk about it in UTR on a daily basis. That is my trading group, paid trading group. Don't hate me. It's actually a great place. We trade options and OTC too, not just crypto. But here it looks like we've got Stellar falling from The 4,300 level when it peaked a few days ago, 44. Looks like it's going to find a possible bottom at 36. In the big scheme of things, I think it's got, Stellar. I'm very fundamentally bullish on Stellar, only because it's got a partnership with IBM. It's part of Hyperledger, and there's just overall compared to the relative market right now, they are on top of their stuff. They have a great social media page. Check them out, and you can kind of get a sense of what they're doing in their market and who they're working with. So, also, I feel like this should be very bullish. Now you got 3 loops on here. I've seen a lot in the past year. I haven't seen how this plays out. So I've got to do a lot more work into it. The bear in me wants to say it's going to bleed down, but I really hope it doesn't. That's just fantastic looking right there. So if you're looking to enter on there, be aware of the volume. Be aware of where you are in relation to the market when you're jumping in. If you're jumping in the next couple of days, I would take a personal look at looking for the whatever level that is, 3,600 to 35 to 3,600 to buy in. Right now it's at 3,900. So just do what you can and be safe with it. That's XLM. Yeah, I want to leave it. Next up, we are going to Ethereum. It's been dying. Look at that volume, though. That's beautiful, my opinion. That's accumulation, undoubtedly. So look at this. Look at that rising buy pressure and falling price. That's just gonna when it falls down. It could fall down more. It could fall to 140, like people want, like I want. But when it falls, it's gonna launch beautifully. So, but it does have that support there now. So if it ends up falling down below 175, look for 140. It's gonna rip out of there. It still isn't downtrend quite clearly. It could end up bouncing right here, making a second little squiggle and going up. But Ethereum, it's not going to die. Ignore the media, as always. If they say Ethereum is going to 0, it's probably not. NANO was doing some work a few weeks back. Looks like it's been consolidating ever since, kind of bled down. Now it's actually back tested on that support, and it could start moving again here. I like the buy pressure coming in on this RSI. The candles look good for it to continue its move. It's got to beat this resistance here at 3,600 or 36,000 Satoshi. But it could easily just keep going on up there to the 38 level. Volume's okay. I don't like that volume's lower while this is coming up. It means that there's a dip coming in the short term, which would make sense if Bitcoin's going to dip, like we were saying earlier. It's going to load the VPVR. It's going to give us a better view of what's going on a little bit here. This stuff's just not loading right now. Let's exit out of that. Yeah, so keeps moving up. A ton of resistance right here, right? So we got to just be careful. If you're in NANO, fundamentally great coin. I know Alt One guys. If you guys follow Brad, he's fantastic with fundamentals. I trust him, and he trusts this coin, so I trust this coin. I don't have a position right now, but keep your eye on NANO, XRB in the past, and good things will happen. See, if it's getting denied by this middle band here, it's going to fall down to 31,000 sats, and it could even go lower. But keep your eye on it, right? It's not totally out of the woods yet in terms of downtrend, but this was a cool little pop I had a few weeks ago. XRP, everyone's favorite coin of the hour. Bounce right here off this top kelt, 7,500 Satoshi. Right now it's back at whatever it's at. My thing's glitching out. It's not showing me. Just be careful of the few key levels. In USD, 54 cents has been huge resistance. So just be careful. If it gets near 54 cents, just make sure that you are hedged well, or properly taking care of your risk, right? Looks like it is exhausted on the RSI. On the 1 hour, it could bounce right here because that band is holding. But then when it bounces back up, be sure to watch right here at 8,000 Satoshi. It could be resistance now. And then we could see this thing continue to bleed out. Just something to be aware of. If you're going to enter, though, this thing was explosive last week, so it's really hard to gauge it using the way I do it. Some would say that this could be a little flag. No, because that is higher volume and lower price. So expect it to fall a little lower. 5,800 Satoshi. So be careful. Next up is Poe. Taking this out of a request from a longtime follower who I appreciate a lot. So doing Poe. It popped a few days ago or yesterday, whatever day it was. It's bleeding down now. It's bleeding down to 157. It wants to continue. You can tell. Buy pressure is rising. It's got support. It's been really consolidated, this whole bear market. It didn't really have an April. And then just look at this RSI. Like, it's exhausted. It needs to expend some energy. Got past that Bollinger Band right there. So if I go to the 4-day, it looks like it could make it up to 240. Above 240, there's 270. So be aware of that right now. It's at its 159. So just be aware that by 272 and 240, you might want to hop out if you're swinging. And if you're looking for an entrance on that one, it's still falling right now. Look for 157 like I was showing you on the 4-hour. That's 158. So they agree with each other. And yeah, you just go from there. And that is all I wanted to go over. Yo, please no shit coins. Dude, I covered Bitcoin for the first like 6 hours of this thing. All right, cool. I'm going to jump off, but appreciate you guys, and we'll talk soon.